Hey, what's going on, guys? Jellied Salmon here, bringing you a new series I want to do of the top 10 Pokemon of every type. So we're going to start out with the most common type you'll see at the beginning of the game, Normal type. So Normal type has been known as the most generic. It has very average stats, as you can see. Look at fully evolved Pokemon. There's no real category that leaps ahead of any of the rest. But you can see they do not have many special attackers. But that's what we're going to start off with today in our number 10 spot, Heliolisk. Heliolisk is the first electric normal type Pokemon that was introduced in Generation 6. It is a fast special attacker, as you can see by its stats down here, and its move pool adds a lot to normal types. With the introduction of electric moves, you can see that it gives normal a real boost. It always has something missing, and I think that Nintendo and Pokemon in general did really well adding Heliolisk into the game. So I feel that it deserves the top 10 spot, not just because of its additions to normal type, but it also has fairly good stats as well. So here comes the number 9 spot, which I'm giving to Snorlax, probably the most annoying Pokemon in Generations 1 and 2, as you can even see here, wild Snorlax can be found sleeping in inconvenient locations throughout Kanto. So Snorlax would just get in your way. But it is still a very good Pokemon, as it is a wall. It is very hard to kill, and if used effectively, it can be a very good toxic stall. Use toxic, then they can't do much. It has fairly low defense, but makes up for it in health and in special defense. It has almost no speed, but it doesn't really need it because that's not what you're using it for. You can have a body slam, toxic stalling wall that can do fairly well. Put leftovers on it, and it's going to be very hard to kill and can cause your opponent a lot of problems. Next Pokemon we're going to look at is Stoutland. Stoutland is on this list. 90% of why is because of Scrappy. Scrappy allows Stoutland to hit ghost Pokemon with fighting and normal type moves, an ability that I believe only 10 Pokemon can know, and it is very strong. 10 Pokemon can know this ability, and it allows the moves such as Return, a very strong move, to be used against any Pokemon. So Stoutland, its stats are fairly well. Its attack, 100 in Generation 5, but in Generation 6 it even got a boost, making it even better Pokemon. It was only given the 10 base stat boost on attack, but even that little boost can go a long way. Its speed is a very average. It doesn't really stand out amongst the rest, but special defense being 90, defense being 90, and health being right around 90 make it fairly strong Pokemon. So we're going to go to our number 7 spot here, which I'm giving to Ditto. One of the most derpy looking Pokemon. It is literally a purple blob. But it transforms into any Pokemon, which I found it cannot transform into Dittos though. But it can transform into any Pokemon that it's going to be facing. So its stats are, well, let's just say they're crap. They're all 48. But it transforms into its Pokemon that it's facing stats, which can piss most people off. Well, on a Pokemon, generally a move pool will be fighting against types that you think you'll see that you will be weak against. If your Pokemon is a water type, you're going to be expecting to see a bunch of grass and electric types, so you'll be fighting against it. You're not expecting a Ditto to come in and all of a sudden you're fighting another water type. So you really have to be careful if your opponent has a Ditto in what Pokemon you have out, and you have to be careful with what you're switching into. So Ditto has a lot of problems that your opponent can face, so I'm putting it here in the 7th spot. Moving on to the 6th spot, I'm putting Dodrio. Dodrio has an amazing ability of Tangled Feet, which if you check right here, will increase their evasion by 20% when the Pokemon is confused. So if you're in a battle, you can use the move Thrash. And Thrash is just, it is insane. With its attack and its speed, it is really hard to take down. It does not have much of a move set. It knows just by itself by leveling up. It can know a bunch of TMs, but the real main move you want to look at is Thrash. It is a 120 base power, but you will get confused afterwards. But with Tangled Feet, it wouldn't matter. Your evasion goes up, and it's not as likely that you're going to be hit. It's still possible. I mean, it's not a perfect strategy, but it is strong enough to give it the 6th spot. So moving on to the top 5, we are starting it with Porygon Z. Porygon Z, I really don't know what it is. It is some sort of, it's not an animal. It just, I don't know where they're going with it. But its ability to download gives it a pretty strategic advantage. Also, it's a special attacker. Normal types do not have many, and Heliolisk made the list at number 10 as a special attacker, and now Porygon Z is going to do it. It has 135 special attack, which is very well, and its speed is fast enough to outspeed most Pokemon. It is pretty average health, special defense, and defense, but it's not going to be taken down by just anything. So, with download, if their opponent is very weak with special defense, you want to switch into Porygon Z. It'll boost its special attack, and your opponent is not going to be loving you at that moment. So, moving on to number 4, we have Ambipom. Ambipom is really on this list because of Technician. It is very good on the fact that it has attack and it has speed, but the real reason why I'm going to put it on here is Fake Out and Last Resort. If you use Fake Out and Last Resort, then yeah, you probably will do very well. Except for Ghost Pokemon, which is the reason why it's not any higher on this list. It is good in the sense that it can do damage to a ton of Pokemon without switching out, regardless of type. Throwing a rock type, it's not going to matter. I mean, seriously, Last Resort will do a ton of damage. But if you throw in a Ghost type, obviously you're going to have to switch. So it's not a perfect system, but I think it's strong enough to give it the 4 spot. So let's go to the 3 spot, moving on to top 3 with Staraptor. Staraptor is, I'm just going to say it, a beast. With Brave Bird, Choice Scarf, Choice Band, do whatever, but increases the base power of moves which cause recoil or crash damage by 20%. So with Brave Bird, and I'm saying if you Choice Band, you have the 1.5 times attack plus 1.2 times attack. It already has, I believe, 120 base attack. It's got Brave Bird. You're not going to outspeed it. It has 100, so most Pokemon are going to be slower than it. And it can take out many Pokemon. I mean, it obviously can't take out a team. It's going to be killed by recoil damage. But even if it takes out 2 Pokemon, you're already at an advantage. It's a fast attacker. It's really good. I think that any normal Mono-type team should have Staraptor. So moving on to my number 2, giving it to Smeargle. Smeargle by itself has almost no stats. It is not on here because it can sweep a team. It is not on here because it's a wall. It is on here for support. This Pokemon right here, yeah, you're looking at it. This little piece of shit that looks like a painter. I don't even know why they put him in. It's my number 2 spot just because of Sticky Web. It can know Stealth Rock. It can know Spore. It can almost any move. And to be honest, if this thing has the power to take down your team, you should probably feel bad about yourself. Just saying. I mean, look at it. It just, to me, this not very impressive. But based on its giant move pool of almost any move in the game, Yeah, I'm going to give it the number 2 spot. So, moving on to number 1. Many of you can probably guess it at this point, but it's Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan is only on here because of its Mega. It is the only viable normal type Mega, and that is because of Parental Bond. It hits twice, and I personally think it's overpowered. I think it should be moved to Ubers in Pokemon Showdown, but it's not my call. It's got 125 base attack, which is strong enough already. Speed is really high. Special defense, defense, and HP are all going to make it really hard to kill. And with Parental Bond, moves like Fake Out, hit twice, Sucker Punch, hit twice. I mean, if you can put priority moves on this thing, it's almost impossible to kill. Power Up Punch, Drain Punch, Return. It has a lot of possibilities to make it an overpowered monster. So that's my top 10. I hope you guys liked it. I mean, I really want to continue these in the future, but I want to base it on interest of my subscribers. So please put in the comments below what type you think I should do next. And if I get a couple good responses, that's the type I'm going to do. So if you like this video, please hit the like button. I really appreciated it. I'm just starting out, so if you hit the subscribe button, it goes a long way. And I guess I will see you guys later.